And that is how we start streaming right there. And it's looking pretty good so far. So, how is everybody out there tonight? I have at least one Bigfoot story that I've been thinking about. I've been playing with the software and dealing with some teeth issues. So, my mind's not totally there completely, sadly. But only I have a Bigfoot story that this guy, for the longest time, he wouldn't even tell me, like, he didn't believe in Bigfoot. He made fun of me and everything. And I knew him. I haven't seen him in a long time, but I knew him really well, and I seen him nearly every day. It was like a business type thing where he owned a business and I used his service. But it was in the mountains, and the mountain, it's a whole different kind of idea, way of life up there for these guys, and like deer hunting and pig hunting and all that kind of stuff is like, things that you do. And I see some people have been finding me, like my son. Oh no, my daughter-in-law. Yeah, just a couple of people, but I know, people that don't get to see it live, they'll get to see it later. So this guy, he makes fun of me all the time about Bigfoot. And one day, the hi. Oh, she's gone. She had to check on me. So she threw my train of thought. Well, one day, we were talking about deer hunting, and he was telling me, and I'm pretty sure like the deer season was just over. So it had just happened to him, and he was still kind of freaked out, And I mean, he was freaked out pretty good. And where there's this place called Mammoth Pool, and it's along the San Joaquin River. In fact, the picture I put up is actually of the San Joaquin River basin right there, and you can see all the granite and all that stuff. All back in there is owned by Southern California Edison and Pacific Gas and Electric, and they own like several powerhouses, so they control that whole area down there. But they had made several reservoirs so that they can manipulate the water coming down and put generators and stuff on it, and one of them is called Mammoth Pool. And the history of Mammoth Pool, I mean, this whole like river area, you can find a lot of Native American artifact all along the whole area. You can see, where they've been and stuff like that. Plus, the area was important because 2 weeks out of, actually, I guess, biannually, they closed the lake entirely during the deer season and in the spring of boaters and everything. I mean, they close it for, it's like two or 3 weeks as the deer migrate. So like in the springtime, they migrate back going to the high country, and then in the fall, when the storms start hitting the high country, then they migrate down and they cross again. Well, way back when, before there was a lake, it was a river, and all kinds of stuff going on. And I'm sure, I'm sure, I mean, this is at the upper end of the migration where the deer migrate to, the upper area that where they're headed to, like in the spring, that's where I had my sighting at. And I was on that same, area for deer hunting. And me and this guy had talked about deer hunting in that area like quite a bit, and the history of it. And I mean, he was all into it, and so was his wife. And I mean, we're mountain guys, and we're talking about mountain stuff. Well, he shows up. I show up one day, and he's like kind of trippy. I didn't know what to think, but I mean, he was tripping a little bit. And the way everything was going, what I needed broke down. So I was stuck, like I couldn't do anything because I needed in fact, everybody that was there needed what he had that was broke down, and we all had to wait. And so did he. So, we had time. And every so often he would have this other stuff that he repaired that I might be able to use. And so we were off looking at some of this stuff, and he tells me, I have to tell you about what happened, because I would talk about Bigfoot every so often, and so I didn't even know he was going to talk about Bigfoot. I was like, wow. When he started bringing it up, it was like, oh my God, serious, the dude that is grew up in the mountains and was like dead set against anybody with anything Bigfoot. You're in for it if you talk to this dude about Bigfoot, you know what I mean? And I'm a glutton for punishment, so I was always mentioning it. So it kind of threw me whenever he brought up the subject. Yeah. So he tells me, that now this lake, this reservoir, there's campgrounds and picnic stuff, and there's some day use, and then there's where you can go camp. And some of it is you have to boat to the back you have to go to the back of the reservoir, and there's some really nice campgrounds and everything. And you can't get to it any other way but by boat. So, that's where, and it's a good place to hunt too, because it doesn't have a lot of people, going there a lot, because you have to go by boat, first of all. So, I mean, that rules out a whole lot of people, okay? I mean, it still allows a lot of people, but it rules out a whole lot of people. Especially when, there's really nice places all up and down there that you can drive to and park and have your boat right there and all that kind of stuff. Even though you can still have your boat right there. In fact, he was telling me they went back there and they unpacked everything and they set their tents up and all that. And then they made dinner, and the water was receding in the lake at a pretty good rate. So that meant, they're lowering it for let's see if he was in there after deer season. So they're lowering it down in anticipation of winter storms. And sometimes, they could rapidly lower it down pretty fast. And it's amazing what they could do with the water. But, okay, they're lowering it down. And they have, one guy has to stay with the boat because it's a pretty big boat, so they have to keep it in the water, right? So one guy's going to stay and they'll take turns, doing that. And he said that, it got to that where, the camp, it was ready to go to bed. They all wanted to get up really early for the first morning and everything, and they're ready to go, And he got picked to be the first guy to keep the boat in the water. And he said that he made like a bed in the boat, and he was just laying down in the boat, and all of a sudden he started hearing these screams, really loud roars, like a monster just echoing off the whole canyon and the mountains, and like the loudest thing he ever heard, and really like long, capacity on the lungs. That's what blew him away. He said it was just ridiculous, volume and length of time, And he said that was like wigging him out. He was like, it was starting to freak him out. And he was trying to figure out what it was and everything. And he said, then he realized that it was moving, that it was moving around the side of the lake and stuff like that, moving back and forth and up and down the hill and stuff. And so it was moving around, and it kept on screaming. And about whenever, he was just about where he was just so freaked out, he was about to go over where the other guys are, and say, we need to get out of here. Another one started yelling off to the other side, and then he was starting to think, oh man, and he said, then they started yelling back and forth. And he said it was like amazingly like the most lung capacity you ever heard, just these things are going off, and so much so that it scared him so bad. Those guys never came to the boat, so he decided he was just going to get in the boat and go out a little ways, off from the shore. If anything sounded like it was going to happen, he would have went right straight back, And he got out there, and he said he did not sleep, even though he was out there, because he figured whatever it was could swim, So he wasn't, he didn't feel exactly safe with these things. He said it sounded like sometimes they were right at the shore, and they were like talking over the top of him and about him, and and he had me from the gates, and he said Bigfoot, but I didn't know it was going to be like that, like that good of wow, amazing. They never saw anything. So that goes on all night, and he said he did not sleep a wink. He was waiting for something to grab like the side of the boat and try to pull itself in or something. And when the morning came, he decided he was gonna go, over and see what these guys are doing over there. And he gets back over there, and they had how they have the picnic bench, or big benches that you can sit on. He said these guys were back to back on the bench, and they were ready for anything, and they were ticked whenever. When he got over there, they said, where were you, man? We went over, to get the heck out of here, and you were already gone, like you left us, He says, no, I didn't leave you. I was just off a little ways, everything seemed fine, and they were not fine. They were not fine. He said they were not fine. They wanted to leave so bad, but they were not fine. And but so that's one of my Bigfoot bedtime stories right there. One of my favorite ones, in fact. And you won't find that online anywhere, because he will not write it anywhere, I don't think. So who got the sack in the background? Isaiah. Hey, buddy. It's good to see you, man. That is where I got it, I got it from you. Can you see it? Yeah. I just wanted to change everything, I found out I could do a lot of stuff with this software, and I'm probably going to do some, cool stuff. Like I could put pictures and websites and you name it, whatever I want to do. I was playing around with it for a long time. I didn't realize how late it got. Otherwise, would have got here a little more earlier. Yeah, so I know this is like getting away from the Bigfoot thing, but I kind of wanted to talk about aliens here. Like, I don't know why, but like the last, I would say week, the alien thing for some reason has been like on my mind, and like I wanted to talk about it to everyone. So it's been like on my mind to talk about to everyone. And what I started with was the winter's going to hit, so all the ponding basins, in fact, some of them, they're moving the water around. I don't know where you live, but I'm pretty sure it's the same everywhere if you have ponding basins. If not, any body of water like lakes and stuff like that. I think maybe I'm supposed to scroll on the chat. I don't know. Yeah. Like, what's up, you guys? It's a late, whatever, what is it, Monday night? Pretty late. Yeah, well, the aliens now. Let's talk about these guys. So, if you live by like rivers, any body of water, even ponding basins, people have been seeing them in the ponding basins, hiding under the water, and I've heard them coming out of lakes and rivers too. I've even heard like over here where doors open and people can see things coming out, out of the doors from around here. This is like a weird place to live over here. Like you have everything. But the alien thing, so, now that winter's hitting, keep an eye on some of those places. I felt like I should tell everybody that. Just, keep your camera handy and watch those things. I don't think enough people are looking, and that's why nobody's seeing these things and reporting them as much, because everything else is on the rise. Like I could give you a bazillion Bigfoot ones and wolf dog or whatever he is. That guy, hey, and let's not forget Mr. Hat Man, shadow figure guy. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? Which camera am I using right now? Right now I'm using, it's called a Logitech 920 Pro. High definition. Only I can't run it at its whole quality on live. I can record up to 60 frames per second with it, and make this really neat recording. But if I go live, this is like the best it's going to get right here, probably about 720, which isn't bad, could be worse. But yeah, the Dogman's pretty scary, but the aliens, see, like there's a connection with the aliens and the Dogmans and the Bigfoot and stuff like that. Definitely, okay. So everything else is on the rise. So what are these aliens up to? You know what I'm saying? Like, if everything else is being seen like crazy, why aren't these being seen? And I don't get me wrong, I know that people are reporting them, but it should be way more, I think. Plus some of these animal mutilations that I've been hearing about around here, no blood. Like, it's kind of weird, but what's really going on? You know what I mean? Like, something's going on. And these aliens, they could do things like, yeah, isn't that nice? I don't lag anymore. And I was thinking I'm too washed out with the light, but I'm stuck in a cubby hole until I can finish the room. I mean, you guys can see, let's see, maybe I shouldn't mess with it too much, but I'm still working on this room, and then I'll be able to move into another room, and the whole room I could have, so I can make like a little corner. But this, you can see the doors behind me. Those are closet doors from the closet, and I mean, we're tearing this room up. Wow, I didn't realize it was doing 1080. I mean, I have it turned up as much as I can on the quality of the camera, but only I had to turn down because of my internet connection. I had to turn down the rate at which it goes out over the net. Yeah, the lighting too is, but so far it's all working. I mean, I'm not glitching or anything like that, right? Yeah. Well, I have some things like in the works, you guys. Like there's a couple of guys in chat right now. I'm pretty sure Fire Dude, and I'm not sure if the other guy's in there. There's some things that we could be doing out here. That I bought a whole nother camera rig and microphone just so that I could bring you guys out to these places that we go. And I like kind of like that the video I put up, that was the rig that I'll be on, okay, when I go out. That's why I put that video, even though it has Jeff. I'm going to be going out with Jeff quite a bit, and I mean, I don't mind, and nobody really should, really, because I mean, we're getting to the bottom of this thing, and I probably wouldn't go with him as much. And then I had a pass. I went the first night, and the next couple of ones I had to pass because my family all here had the flu. I didn't get the flu, but only I didn't want to bring the flu. You know what I mean? Like be a carrier of it and spread the flu around. So I stayed home, even though it was killing me. You guys don't realize, that we, together, we've been working on this thing for, like 5 years. And talking to all these people, and I mean, I watched these kids grow up. The first ones that saw the Bigfoot out there, and I watched them all grow up, and and develop friendships and everything with all these people all out here. And now it's starting to really open up, and I mean, it's starting to get. That's what's kind of weird. It's starting to get more. And I don't know if maybe it was more or the people didn't have anywhere to tell anyone, and now we're all hearing what everyone's been seeing. In fact, that's why I wanted everybody to be on the lookout for the UFO guys. I mean, you're gonna see them, guys, because these things are happening out there and they're related. So you're gonna see them, okay? You will see them, and I just can't wait to hear about some of that. Like we let's see. Yeah, I know, like when it was coming to me and Jeff, like separating, he may have made it out to seem like, that I'm like half dead or something, but only he really wants what he's going for, and I really would like for him to get it if he can, and work really hard towards it, because I think I believe if anyone wants whatever they want, if they work hard enough and they learn from their mistakes and continue to try to do better, they can do whatever they want to do. Believe me, you can be whatever you want to be. I mean, even a pilot, if you started like putting all your interest over there, you might not fly, a 747 or a rocket, but you'll surely be able to go rent a plane anytime you want and take off flying. I mean, anything is possible, Yeah, I talked to Heidi. I haven't talked to her a little while, Okay, but I wanted to talk about the aliens here. Let me see. Now, so everybody start watching for him. And me and Jeff, a long time ago, maybe like 3 years ago, we interviewed this guy that his whole family was having alien interactions, right, and abduction type scenarios and kind of weird stuff. And I mean, I've talked to a lot of people like that, and it's really a trip, like what his was they were flying home, like talking about pilots, he's flying home with his family, and he's in the back of the plane, in the back seat, and he's kind of just like stretched out best you can, trying to sleep, and they're flying in the middle of, like in the nighttime, And he said all of a sudden, he was looking through the window of his plane, and there was this huge mothership hovering outside. Not hovering, it had to be going the same speed as their airplane, but it was like just above their plane. So him laying down and looking up out the window like that, where his dad couldn't see it, who was piloting it, neither could anyone else, but he could. He said, and he's seen a door open on the side of it, and all these UFOs come out of it. And they surrounded the plane. That's when they never saw the big one, but they saw all the other ones surrounding them, right? Surrounding them. The next thing that he remembers, and up to that point, it had been like 17 years, and his family never talked about it. He just was barely remembering at the time when we were, they were all remembering. But they hadn't been, and this is like so common when you start, getting into the alien thing. But they all woke up, and they where they lived, where their house their plane had a garage, right, or a hangar at their house, plus a garage for their car. But he said they woke up in the morning, though, the last thing he remembers, and anyone remembers, is being surrounded by the UFOs. After that, the next thing they remember is waking up in the morning, and they're home, all safe and sound, and the plane is in the hangar all locked up and locked down just like it should be, and they don't have any memory whatsoever of doing any of that and going to bed and everything. That's a trip. That's a trip. I wonder how much more of that happens around here, or anywhere really for that matter. I mean, really, geez. Okay, now I want to bring up the art stuff. Let me see what everybody's saying. I think I think everything is interdimensional. I actually believe we're meant to be interdimensional. You know what I mean? And something happened, and that's what this big, giant, huge, good and evil kind of thing is. I think that we're meant to win. Yeah. Only see, I have this weird thing where I got to see the other side, and I got to learn some things, and I told John I would talk about this. See that, and this is where it's all interdimensional. You know what I mean? Like interdimensional, like when you can't see. Okay, like we can't see angels or demons or ghosts or spirits. Sometimes you might be able to get a glimpse, like you can't see the Hat Man, you can't see all these things, but that doesn't mean they're not there. You know what I mean? Like aliens, they disappear too, right? And they go to another dimension. Bigfoot is even, like, I've tracked Bigfoot into a wide open, on the top of a ridge. No, it was above the tree line, nothing around for like 100 yards for this thing to really jump on, and it's all sand on the top, and here his tracks end right in the middle of it. That's interdimensional to me, or something picked him up, like a UFO, like beam me up, Bigfoot, But all this stuff's all related somehow, and so is our life somehow interrelated interdimensionally, because when you pass from, like, we don't live forever, you know what I mean? We all have a limited time. Like tonight could be all our last night, like anything could happen, you know what I mean? Like anything could change. And that's how I know from something like that happening, where instantaneously you're fine, and then all of a sudden, oops, you're not fine. You know what I mean? So then you're laying there, and they're telling you, you might not have a right leg. Then when you get when they wake you up, they tell you, oh, you have a right leg, yay. But, then they start telling you the buts, like, but you died twice and all this kind of thing, and why, and the whole thing. And all that's like cool. Only what was really cool was, where did you go when you're gone? What if you could remember? Well, I remembered. In fact, I didn't even remember right away. That's the weird part. I was actually on my laptop, searching, doing something. I think a Facebook game. Remember that was like, I can't remember the name of it. Maybe it wasn't even Facebook. It was MySpace or. I was doing something. And on the TV, I think it was Grey's Anatomy or something, the doctor was yelling, stay with us, stay with us. And that just freaked me all out. And all of a sudden I had like an epiphany. All of a sudden this movie turned on in my head, and I seen this big old giant where I died, and I seen the doctor's face. I mean, it all came back to me, like I had little inklings of it all the way till then, but only the whole thing came to me right when they were saying those words. But when I got on the other side, actually everything was on steroids of here. It's almost identical. I mean, the same as here, except for there's colors. You don't know what the name of the color is because you never saw it before. Everything is vibrant. The smells are like really smelly. I never just smelled anything bad, but I mean, like when I was standing in the mountains, I could smell the mountains. And if anyone's ever stood in a forest and it has that smell, like the high forest, I love that smell. And in fact, when I come home deer hunting or camping or something like that, it kind of lingers on stuff, But in where after this life, when you go in the other one and you're experiencing that dimension side of it, oh my gosh, dude, we're like living in this little dumbed down thing, I think. You know what I mean? Maybe we have to learn to be nice or something. Maybe we weren't nice, and that's how come we got, punished to live in this life. I don't know. I'm just rambling. Maybe I should shut up, Yeah, and see what these guys are doing. Yeah. Well, like, okay, on the Greys, back to the alien thing, they don't even have sex organs, really. And speaking of Heidi, you guys are talking about Heidi. I mean, Heidi, like, you guys know the story about her, where they were in her house, these three little gray aliens, and they're like looking at everything on her desk, and she's, and her pictures, how people have everything, like pictures and stuff like that, all on shelves and things like that. Well, Heidi has all that family pictures and everything. She sees these guys, she comes in there and they're just little bitty weaklings. That's what she sees. Okay. Little weaklings. And one of them is standing there holding her nephew's picture when he was like 8 or something like that, when he was a kid. Okay. And it ticked her off. She's like, hey, she grabbed the picture and knocked him down, or she tried to grab the picture and knocked him down, or he fell down. I'm not really sure, but I know she laid hands on a couple of them, if not one of them. And I'm not sure if it was that one, but as he landed on the ground, he turned into her cousin, and was begging for her to not hurt him. This is like, what? Like, okay, that's trippy, So, they don't have sexual organs, but they have that kind of capability. Wow. So maybe they could, like, turn into that and still, do these weird pervert things, because they can manifest themselves into whatever they want. Just thinking outside the alien box, you know, a little bit. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, yeah. So I'm a time traveler again. Like I think I had to set in order for it to have the really good quality. I have to set have a delay. You know, so when I look back at the chat, I'm seeing like everybody's seeing what I did 2 minutes ago. So I'm like going backwards. You know. I don't know why everybody goes after Jeff. You know, I have no idea. I, me and him have chatted on that. Even he's passionate. Maybe that's what they don't like. You know, is that he tries really hard. I mean, that guy puts everything. He's all in. You know what I mean? All in. Maybe they look at it as a competition. I don't know. I don't see it quite like that, but like whatever happens, you know. I actually, okay, this is just me, but I think they're more spiritual like. I don't think it's so much a biological, you know. I mean, you get that when it's in this dimension and it's solid and everything. You know what I mean? It's solid. But in the next minute, it could be invisible and not touching this dimension, but standing right next to you type thing. You know, that kind of thing. And so I see it like that. And so I, like when people talk about hurting one or, you know, doing anything to one, like if that was going to happen, that would have happened. And maybe it's happened a few times, but I bet it's rare. And, you know, I mean, somebody just happened to catch it when it was solid like this, and it can be hurt when it's like that, you know. I mean, I'm not sure, but I'm just saying, I bet it is, or it can be. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with him so much, but I've been pretty much like here because of the flu. The flu. Everyone is just now, you know, starting to do their thing. Only I wound up with a big old fat face. So I've been on antibiotics for 3 days. Probably have to see a dentist and all that. So they're all getting over the flu, and then I got to go deal with that. The last time I dealt with that, they drilled my tongue. So I don't like those guys very much. Yeah. So what else does it say on the chat? Let me see. Yeah, the app thing's not a bad idea, really. I think you can make your own apps nowadays, can't you? I'm pretty sure. I built one a while back just for the fun of it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, why do animals? I don't know. They probably like commit suicide or something, jump off a cliff. They get an abscessed tooth, probably just like. I know that's what I feel like doing sometimes. Wow. Yeah, they suffer just like we do. Yeah, well, you know, that was all I had for tonight. That was my scary, spooky bedtime story for the night. You know, a little bit of Bigfoot out there, and then everybody watch for in their water places, river, ponding basins, all that. Watch for the UFOs. Plus, I ordered it. I made a shirt, and it says Squatch Zone on it. And then I ordered in the wrong color, of course, you know. But I made just one, and then I'm gonna put it on here and then ask you guys what do you think, because that's I you know, I want you guys, it's for you guys, so I want everybody else to approve of it. Doesn't have to be necessarily my favorite one. In fact, it doesn't have to be my favorite one at all. I'd rather it be your guys' favorite one. Yeah, and in fact, I'm gonna see if I can get in touch with Heidi. Plus, there were some people that, if you guys are listening or you do listen, some people contacted me. Oh man, a couple of days ago. One of them was telling me to set aside some time for a really good story, and I'm just now getting this thing set up. I can take Skype now, and I think I can just patch the audio if you don't want to be on the video. I can't take calls yet. I'm waiting for one little cord to get here. I already ordered it. It should be here any day. One of the last things that, to take calls. So I ordered this shirt, and then I have, oh yeah, and those people that recontact me. The flu set me back like 5 days. So, yeah, sorry about that. Plus, there's the artist. I have this idea of having one-of-a-kind artwork that people have out there, and we'll put it on. I mean, this is your channel. Let's share our talents, right? So you give us one piece of artwork. I'll put it on T-shirts and whatever they want, and we'll sell even, some, what they call them, laser prints and stuff like that, signed and numbered and limited and everything. And I mean, this is just an idea, you guys. We don't have to do it if we don't want to. But I've seen some really killer art already that is freaking killer. I mean, really good stuff. And I think it would be absolutely something that would be fun. And I would wear this shirt all the time, the different shirts. Oh man, I'm a shirt guy. So yeah. And I'll be showing some of that pretty soon too. But everybody, the ones that contact me back again, so I can make that time and everything, and get your stories. One guy was saying, I mean, one of them, if you're watching or you tune in and catch this, you live in Washington, and it's like you see him every day type thing. I want to hear about that for sure, for sure. Okay. Isaiah, I see him all the time still. Well, I don't see him all the time. I want to see him. I'll see more of him hopefully here in the future. And you guys are doing really great. Only I really have to call it. It's getting really late, I know, for most of you. But I just want to make sure those guys call me with those good stories and stuff. I will share them, even if you don't want to be on and you don't want to show your likeness or anything like that. I'm down. We just need to share it and share everything and do everything and, make all this happen. And I can't remember what I did. I think I do this, and I'm off.